share a little bit about what the World Economic Forum is all about. The theme for this year is the cooperation in a fragmented world. And here we will be able to explore new systems for investment, trade, and infrastructure amidst the economic downturn. That's the first theme. Second one is cooperation in our multipolar world amidst geopolitical risks. Number 3 is energy, climate, and nature amidst energy and food crisis. 4 is partnerships with the private sector on innovation and resilience amidst current industry headwinds. And 5, work, skills, and care amidst social vulnerabilities. We are presented with an opportunity to forward our priorities on food and energy security, digitalization, climate action, attracting investments and promoting beneficial trade, addressing inequality, and providing accessible social services, and to partner with other countries, businesses, civil society, and other stakeholders to this end, as well as to collaborate with the World Economic Forum on several of their initiatives. So let me call on Yusek Carlos Soreta to please give us a briefing on the program.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Ms. Daphne, and good morning, Palace and DFA Press Corps. We're very glad to come here to face you fresh from briefing the President on his trip to attend the annual meeting of the World Economic Forum in Davos. The World Economic Forum remains the premier forum for world and business leaders to get together, to interact, and to address, come up with ideas and plans to address the many challenges and opportunities facing our global economy. The President goes to Davos at a time when our country and our region is recovering well from past challenges, where projections remain high for economic growth in our country and our region. And we have a realization in our region that individual and collective, individual and collective economic potential remains great, and there's a lot of hope and optimism. So it's a good time for our country and representing our country and our region to be in Davos at this time. The President will be the only leader from ASEAN to be in Davos, and he will be only one of 2 leaders from Asia. So he will be in a wonderful position to represent not only our country, but how our own region, ASEAN and the East Asia region, can be the engine of growth for the world economy. We help, so the theme for WEF is cooperation in a fragmented world. What we want to present is that the Philippines in ASEAN and in Asia can be important factors in bringing together the fragmented parts of the world. What we present to a fragmented world, because of our great economic potential in our country and our region, is is a promise of progress and prosperity. Is what we offer if we are able to achieve peace in other parts of the world. If the causes of the fragmentation can be addressed, we can promise that once peace is achieved, there will be progress and prosperity. So that's what we offer the world as an incentive for the causes of fragmentation, meaning without needing to get into specifics, conflicts to be resolved. A little more detail. So the President will be leading our economic team composed of government officials and business leaders, and we will present the country's economic performance, which tops growth in the region, before an audience of international CEOs. The President will also participate in a high-level dialogue session with the President, with other leaders, the President of South Africa, Prime Minister of Belgium, President of the European Commission, and of course the Prime Minister of a few more others who have still to confirm who, if they will be participating. There will be a stakeholder dialogue on nutrition, global nutrition, something very important to us. Food security, of course, very important, but nutrition is also very important. There are parts of the world where food is available, but children are not properly nourished. So there's more to food security than just having a food. The quality is very important, especially for children. So nutrition should always go hand in hand with the food security. And the president is scheduled to discuss this issue with other world leaders. He will also have a number of activities on the sidelines, including business meetings, as well as meeting with the Filipino community, not only from Switzerland. I understand that other Filipino community members from other parts of Europe have asked to attend, and of course they will be allowed to attend. So they will be coming in from other countries in Europe to meet the president. We're at 700 now. 700, Eric? We're about have registered and increasing. We hope to accommodate all of them. Through the president's participation, we'll be able to push for our priorities in food and nutrition, in energy security, and as discussed by Ms. Daphne. At the briefing this morning, the president said that we have developing all these excellent fundamentals, and there's much that we can offer investors. And he said, let's talk about the sovereign wealth fund that's being set up. And I agree completely with the president. The World Economic Forum is a great venue to do a sort of soft launch for our sovereign wealth fund, given the prominence of the forum itself and global and business leaders who will be there. And they will hear it directly from the president, what the fundamentals that we have, and that lead us to decide that we should have a sovereign wealth fund. So that's one of the things we're preparing for for Davos. I think that's basically it. Do we take questions, or can I go home now?
Questions?
Thank you very much.
Ace Romero, Philstar.
Good morning, Yusek. So how will the president tackle the Maharlika, given that it has not yet secured final approval from Congress?
Thank you, Mr. Romero. It's really more a soft launch. It's to introduce it. I understand it is evolving. We have the fullest respect for the congressional process and the open hearings that they're having and how to work out the details. But the broad strokes of it, the president has a very, very good grasp of what he wants to achieve, whatever form the sovereign wealth fund finally takes. What's very important is it's an investment in the future, and there's great confidence the president has in the ability and capabilities of Filipino entrepreneurs, and local investors even. So it's a very soft launch. It's not so don't say that he's launching sovereign wealth fund in Davos. No, people do this all the time in fora like this. In my past attendance in WEF, there have been launches. I remember Bill Gates launched some initiatives in Africa in a soft way. It's more to inform the world. And it's really one of the best places to do it. And I have to say, it's the president's idea. I regret I didn't even think about it.
I just want to also add to that at the meeting, the president had reminded all of us that World Economic Forum is an economic forum. So it's the time for the Philippines to, since we're at the world stage, to let them know what our country is doing in terms of being ready and attractive for investments. And that's what was discussed this morning.
Questions? Pia Gutierrez, ABS-CBN.
Sir, will there also be a chance for the president to hold bilateral meetings with heads of state who will be attending the forum?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, he will be interacting in many of the events, panels with global leaders. I'm sure there'll be downtime. You have to understand, WEF is there's 270 events squeezed into 5 days. Some very specific sectoral events. And so one-on-one bilaterals might be difficult because it's hard to, because all the leaders are either leading opening sessions or are panelists. The opportunity for bilaterals will be when he's there sitting beside, for example, the President of Prime Minister of Belgium or the President of Korea. So, but a typical sit down, it's not that kind of meeting. It's not like APEC or ASEAN. It's a different dynamic altogether. It's really a bit different. So the bilaterals will be mostly when they're in the same room together, and he has expressed interest. He is a very focused person. I want to talk to this guy about this. I can't mention specifics, but I will, when I bump into him, I'm going to tell him this. And we're preparing all the talking points, not just with the global leaders, but also heads of financial institutions that he wants to meet. So yes, there will be talks. I wouldn't characterize it in terms of the bilateral that we're used to, like in ASEAN or APEC, where they sit down in a room across the table. It's a bit different. Thank you.
Okay, Michelle Gilang, Daily Tribune.
Good afternoon po, Yusek Sareta. In November last year, the president, during a media interview on the sidelines of, I believe it was ASEAN, the president said he was kind of ambivalent about going to Switzerland because his existing schedule is already filled with several foreign trips. I just want to ask, was there any adjustments made to the schedule of the president to make room for the World Economic Forum?
There were no other engagements of the president that was compromised by his attendance. There's no. I think that's the question. That if there were some adjustments to be made. No, it's a good time to go to Switzerland and attend the WEF. There's no other thing planned for this window. I know it's a long trip. He'll be away for 5 days, so we had to block that off. And no. There are other trips for this month, like China, and then there's one coming up in a few weeks. But no, there was no. Good question.
Any other questions? No more? Oh, Ace Rivero again.
Undersecretary, just a follow-up on the Maharlika. So what particular aspects of the Sovereign Wealth Fund will be tackled by the President during the forum?
My understanding is it will be broad strokes. Like I said, we have to leave the specifics to the legislation, which I've seen some drafts of. It's really very, very specific. We're working with the Department of Finance and the Department of Trade to come up with very precise, targeted messages for the President. Again, in terms of broad strokes, we're not handing out brochures yet or packets for investment. No, it's not. It's going to the President himself, bringing to the world the idea that we will be having this. So it's not that.
But basically, it's relaying to the world that we're ready to have such a wealth fund.
Why we are
perhaps.
doing it and why it's a good idea. Yes.
Thank you, Yusek.
Okay, Eden Santos, Net 25.
Sir, hindi po ba nangangamba ang BBM administration na baka biglang mabuhay ulit yung issue ng Swiss account ng pamilya Marcos sa pagbisita po niya dito sa Switzerland?
Maraming salamat. Hindi naman po siguro. Meron po tayong malinaw na framework for legal cooperation with Switzerland. Nag-negotiate po tayo ng mga agreements for cooperation on legal matters, on including even yung mga matters that may relate to this issue that you are referring to. And none of those mechanisms have been triggered by the Swiss government or anything. So we don't know, that we don't expect anything. I don't think it's an issue.
So haka-haka lang for fake news yung mga sinasabi na baka mag-withdraw ng account ng Pangulo sa Switzerland?
It's hard to comment on that.
Thank you po.
If
Okay.
ever there was something like that, we would know about it, but there's none. Like I said, the bilateral relations with Switzerland is excellent. There's a legal framework for cooperation on financial matters, and none of it has been triggered.
Okay, last question. Daniel Manalastas, PTV.
Hi sir, good morning. Sir, do you have a rough estimate or siguro tansya nyo lang kung ano yung investment na, ano yung mga investment na iuwi po ng Pangulo?
Usually we do that at the end of the trip. Hard to speculate. Baka mabulilyasan, baka matras. It's not. But our practice has been it's at the end of the trip. But this one is not so much. It again, like I said, it's a different kind of visit. I'm sure we will be able to quantify to some extent, but that will come at the end. Thank you.
Okay. Sir, are we okay to accommodate at least one question?
Yeah, sure.
Pia.
I mean,
Sir, this is not connected to the trip, pero just want to ask for the comment of the DFA on the statement of the Ukrainian Chargé d'Affaires that they have been asking the DFA for a phone call between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. since June 2022 pa, since the president has been elected, pero it has yet to be accommodated. Can you comment on this, sir?
first of all, we don't really appreciate when these things are done. Ukraine is a country we have a good relationship with, but when matters like these are vented by representatives of another government through the press, it's not something that we appreciate. And I think I'll limit my comment. If he wants this to happen, he has to. We have to discuss it. These things are arranged. Talking points are discussed. There's pre-discussion. It's not good diplomatic practice to be doing it the way he did. I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay, our last question will be from our DFA reporter, Joseph Pedrajas. What is expected to be achieved during PBBM's trip, like investments, lobbying, national concerns?
I'm sorry, I didn't, the last part.
Like investments and lobbying, national concerns.
Lobbying. Oh, yes, I think Ms. Daphne pretty much covered it. Yes, he will be meeting with global leaders and global economic leaders, and he will be engaging them, discussing how to bring together a fragmented world. It's really a complex issue that's facing the leaders in WEF. There are opportunities to, you see, there's a broader agenda in WEF. You're trying to solve global problems and promote global growth. But of course, we have our own agenda also to promote the Philippines, and he will be doing that. And like I said, the assessment probably should come after the visit. But the WEF is really designed for global leaders to get together, to tackle together in a cooperative way global issues. But doesn't mean we shouldn't promote our own interests, which we will. Thank you.
Oh,
Okay, thank you, Yusek. Ms. Daphne?
okay, I think we thank you so much for being here, and thank you for all the questions. And thank you, Yusek Carlos Sorreta and ASEC Eric Tamayo. Maraming salamat, Malacanang Press Corps at
Thank you.
DFA Press Corps.
Good
Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Now you can
Thank
have your
you.
lunch.
Oh, yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Good questions. Thank you.